Tuesday, February 6th. I'm your host, Sarah Beal. On today's show, we talk to Director of Senior Services, Madeline Noonan. She fills us in on some great events they are offering in the month of February. Then we'll talk to Planning and Development Director, Elizabeth Jenkins. She lets us know what's next for the Growth Incentive Zone in Hyannis. But first, let's get a look at today's top headlines. The Barnstable Youth Commission will again be hosting their Community Prevention Forum and 7th Grade Youth Summit. The Community Prevention Forum will be held on Thursday, March 15th at Cape Cod Community College Tilden Arts Center. The public is welcome to attend for a presentation and open discussion with a panel of Barnstable police officers on what the trends are, what you should look for, as well as a Q&A. The 7th Grade Youth Summit will take place the next day, also at Cape Cod Community College, with Dynamic Influence and Kevin Rosario presenting, along with classes with BHS Peer Leadership and BHS Programs and Activities presented by many clubs, sports, and activities available when the 7th graders enter BHS in the fall. A new school committee member was selected at last week's town council meeting. The council and school committee held a joint meeting to interview and select a new member to fill the slot vacated last year. Each candidate was asked the same 3 questions, and after some deliberation, a vote was taken. The choice was unanimous. Barbara Dunn will be the new school committee member. Her first meeting will be this Wednesday, as the school committee meets at 7 p.m. in the Town Hall hearing room and begins their work on the FY19 budget. A public hearing on changes to various permits and program fees that will take effect July 1st for FY 2019 within the town of Barnstable will be held on February 13th at 10 a.m. in the Town Hall hearing room. Information is available on the town website at townofbarnstable.us or in the town manager's office between the hours of 8:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. The town of Barnstable has over 40 boards, committees, and commissions with approximately 291 seats. If you're a resident, registered to vote in the town of Barnstable, and interested in serving on a board or committee, please file an application by visiting townofbarnstable.us. For a more detailed description and responsibilities of the committees, please contact the town council office at 508-862-4738. The appointments committee, made up of 5 town councilors, will interview applicants and make recommendations to the town council, who vote to appoint members at their regular meetings. Coming up next, Director of Senior Services, Madeline Noonan. Maddie, thank you so much for joining us today. We have so much to talk about, like always, because there's always so much going on at the Barnstable Senior Center.
Yes, there is.
First thing we want to talk about is you have a Valentine's Day tea coming up on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, well, you know how we like to celebrate any special events throughout the year at the Senior Center. We always want to kind of lift everybody's spirits and, you know, kind of offer an opportunity for people to get together and socialize, and particularly in the winter, you know, when some of us kind of feel like cabin fever, you know, yes. And for a lot of our older adults that, you know, may not get outdoors as much, they probably start going a little stir-crazy after a while. So we thought, all dependent on weather. I mean, hopefully we're going to have a nice day, but Wednesday, February 14th, we will be celebrating Valentine's Day with a lovely afternoon tea. It's a free event, and we're inviting anybody to come in. If you want, you can dress up and wear, you know, your red clothing, just to really get in the mood. But we're going to be serving up some tea, some desserts, and we're going to have some lovely musical entertainment. It's a group that have performed here a couple of times, and people really enjoy them. They're called Too Cool. They're kind of like a jazz band. So they're going to be providing entertainment, and it's from 1:30 to 3:30 in the afternoon. And we're also going to do, just to kind of, you know, make things a little bit more fun, have a little trivia contest and have some prizes. So we just wanted to get the word out there. It'll be a nice way to come in, whether or not you want to come on your own or come with friends. It's going to be a really nice social, you know, afternoon of camaraderie and friendship and connection.
Sounds great. Do people need to RSVP for this event?
Yeah, it's always really helpful when we have a good count of how many people, you know, to expect. So if people want to give us a call, you can reach us at 508-862-4750, and all you got to do is sign up. It's like I said, it's a free event, so we're just encouraging the more the merrier to come in and join us.
Great. Another thing that you guys are doing this month is it is Black History Month, and you have a couple of things you're doing to help celebrate this.
Yeah, this is, a really special opportunity for us to really applaud and, learn and educate ourselves and become more aware of, a lot of the noteworthy contributions to our society by, African Americans, both, locally and, throughout the nation, how our country has been shaped by the contributions of African Americans, and, Black History Month gives us a really great opportunity to reflect on that. And so we are working with our friend John Reed from the Zion Union Heritage Museum to put together a series of programs where I know so far we have Carl Lopes, who's very well known, our teacher at Barnstable High School, and a very talented artist in his own right, is going to be coming over on Friday, February 9th, and then we have some other topics that we're going to be covering. So the series actually starts February 5th and goes all the way through to February 28th. And so it's on Mondays and Fridays. So if people are interested in signing up and getting more information, they can give us a call, again, at our main line at 508-862-4750.
Wonderful. That sounds like such a great series that you guys are going to be offering at the Senior Center. I hope that a lot of people will take a part in that.
It's great because we have to celebrate the diversity in our community and really, encourage, all of our participants to, be, we always want to be inclusive and respectful and encourage, people from different ethnicities and races to be a part of our day-to-day life over here. So this is a great way to encourage, that.
Wonderful. Another important thing that you have going on in February is that you have a Medicare talk, which is already very popular.
Mm-hmm. Well, Medicare was one of those topics that, as you
Yes.
age, you can't really ignore it because everybody's affected. And one of the big changes that's happened lately is that the Center for Medicare Service has issued new Medicare cards for everybody across the nation who's over 65. And so what that means, a lot of people want to know more about that. And so we have put together an information forum, and it's about the new Medicare cards, what you need to know and be aware of. And we're really fortunate to be joined by Delia DeMello. She's from the Social Security Office, and she specializes in Medicare services. And we also have Lucilia Prates-Ramos, who's the director of the Senior Medicare Patrol Program for Massachusetts, and also the Regional Shine Coordinator for Barnstable County, Tracy Benson, are going to be here to offer this seminar. And so basically, it's really a workshop for people talking about, why the new cards are being issued and how it's going to impact Medicare enrollees, and also, just giving an update, which I think is always, this is a topic that really, it's significant to a lot of older adults. And so we expect, we already have over 70 people signed up to come to this presentation. So I think that speaks to, how important an issue it is. But we're encouraging, more people to sign up because it is a great opportunity to have your questions answered. It's a free seminar, and it's happening on February 15th from 1:30 to 3. So we're asking, again, people give us a call to RSVP just so we can have, make sure we have enough space for everybody that comes.
Wow, it's such an important issue. So it's great that you're hosting a seminar that people can get up to date and get all the correct information that they need for their Medicare.
Yeah, and it's a good point to also mention that, we do have our outreach coordinators on staff. We have Claudia Borden and Judy Red, who do a phenomenal job day in, day out at the Senior Center, assisting, a lot of our senior citizens with, their health insurance needs and beyond. Our outreach department, helps people with a lot of programs and benefits that they can enroll in. And we also are very grateful to all of the Shine volunteers that we have here at the Senior Center that, help people on an ongoing basis, make sure that they're signed up for the appropriate Medicare program that best fits their needs. So we're very fortunate to have these great resources locally at the Senior Center.
Definitely. We also want to talk about an interesting art class that you're going to be offering this month with Carl Bertelson. He's going to teach people how to draw on their iPhones and iPads.
Yeah, Carl is just one of these amazing people, that we often meet at the Senior Center that have all these kind of hidden talents. And we've been really fortunate to get to know him over the last couple of years. And he's actually been wonderful at doing some technology programs, particularly helping older adults become more comfortable using iPads and iPhones. When we think back to, 5-10 years ago, most of our technology programs were using like desktop computers. And that's something that we don't even do classes in anymore because there isn't a demand for it at this stage.
Right.
Seniors are so much more comfortable using iPads and and iPhones or their tablets, which they really are a whole lot more beneficial in terms of being portable, and you can't really screw them up the way you can with a regular desktop computer.
Yes.
Where people are always afraid they'd hit the wrong button. And so there's been this huge surge of interest. And so Carl, for the last couple of years, has been teaching classes on how to use your iPad. That's one thing you notice when you buy a tablet or an iPad. They don't really come with instruction manuals. So he's been really an expert at helping people become very familiar and comfortable using their technology. But one of the really interesting things about him is he has a whole background in graphic design and, like designing really amazing work. And, the first time that the staff and I had seen some of his work, we didn't realize that he had, he was showing us these paintings, and like we actually thought that he had done these, like in a traditional way, and then he kind of blew us away by telling us they were all created using his finger on his iPad. And to see, one of the pieces that sticks out in my mind, it actually looked like a photograph of an ear of corn that he actually had drawn with his finger.
Wow.
So it kind of blew us away, and he actually donated one of his prints to us, which is off the Swan Boats at Boston Common, which we have hanging up at our front desk, and it's just beautiful. It's a beautiful piece of work. So we've kind of been asking him for a little bit, would he be interested, in kind of offering a class to help people kind of be able to use it. There's so many, free programs and apps out there where you can kind of do art on your tablet or iPad. And, I think his hesitancy initially was that you kind of have to have some artistic skills to be able to. He can't just make anybody magically draw these works of art with their finger, So there needed to be some background where people had some comfortability. But he's actually going to be doing this class and starting February 8th and running through March 8th. It's $15, Sarah, to sign up for this class, which is really amazing. And he's going to show some of his tricks and tools and, basically show people, how they can do these beautiful, creative works of art, without having to buy any paints or canvases.
That sounds amazing. Very cool.
We're very fortunate to have to do this. So I think it's going to be very, very cool for people to come in and kind of learn this, new ability. So we're getting the word out there.
Great. Last thing we want to mention real quick before I let you go is that you guys did send out a survey in this year's census, and you've already received 1,700 responses back, but you're still, still accepting responses to the survey.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up as a reminder. I know that, everybody, some people are, great. They return their forms right away, and other people they call it the fruit bowl syndrome. They throw it in their fruit bowl and then forget about it for a while. So we just kind of want to make sure that we're getting the word out to people that, if you haven't, return your census form, but also in the form, there was a survey that we had sent out specifically about our programs and services at the Senior Center, and it's really going to help shape our way forward in looking at what our priorities will be with regards to our activity programs here. And so the response so far has really been overwhelming. We're absolutely thrilled that so many people took the time. All of the information that we've received back so far is extraordinarily helpful to us, but we want to make sure that, we get, if people, kind of are planning on sending it back, that you get it back to us sooner rather than later, because, it's really informing us, but we want to be able to make some decisions and set some priorities moving forward. So Yeah, thanks for getting the word out. And just a last reminder, there are a ton of exercise programs starting. Actually, one of the things that we learned from the survey was the biggest demand for activities is in health and fitness. And so I think that, we've already shown our commitment to that. I mean, we have currently 22 exercise classes that are going on, every day at the senior centre. So it really is amazing that we're offering, this range of fitness and wellness activities. So there's a whole new session of classes starting next week. If people want to sign up, they can access our newsletter or come into the centre and pick up a copy of our compass, or we can mail one out. But, we've really got something for everybody.
Great. Maddie, thank you so much for joining us and telling us about everything that's going on at the Senior Center. And, there's so much that we didn't cover, so everyone should pick up a compass today so that they can be completely informed about what's going on over there.
And we'll be talking soon about all the other great stuff.
Great.
There's always something to talk about.
Always. Thank you so much, Maddie.
Sarah.
I'll talk with you soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. My guest today is Madeline Noonan. She's the Director of Senior Services here in the town of Barnstable. Now, Planning and Development Director Elizabeth Jenkins fills us in on what's next for the Growth Incentive Zone application. Elizabeth, thanks so much for coming back in. We're going to continue talking about the Growth Incentive Zone, otherwise known as the GIZ. It's a big project, something that's been going on. We've been a part of it for about 12 years now, and we're just, the town is reapplying. So let's get into it again.
Thanks, Sarah. Yeah, so in terms of what we're doing, so we are looking to redesignate the downtown Hyannis area as a growth incentive zone. We have a new application that we're submitting to the Cape Cod Commission to essentially renew that designation. We originally designated in 2006, but there was a time limit on that designation as a way to, I guess, encourage towns to be thoughtful about the planning that went into those areas. So now we are looking to redesignate. So we are in the middle of this process. We held a public hearing on Monday the 29th, and then there was a joint hearing in front of the Planning Board and Town Council as well, where they took public comment on this. So just a quick recap for folks who haven't been following along. A growth incentive zone is a tool that's provided by the Cape Cod Commission and adopted by the town to promote growth and development in a way that's to direct that growth and development into compact mixed-use activity centers on Cape Cod in a way that's served by public infrastructure, to encourage growth and development that's walkable, to reduce auto use. So again, a smart growth strategy, essentially, instead of a sprawling land use development pattern, to encourage growth into activity centers. So a growth incentive zone is kind of a two-part tool. In one way, it's a great planning tool for downtowns and downtown revitalization. That's really one of the big benefits that we've gotten from it, is a great way to comprehensively look at downtown. And then the second piece is the incentive in the growth incentive zone, which is it allows major development projects within that zone to be exempt from review by the Cape Cod Commission. So there are certain threshold levels of development that get reviewed by for projects that get reviewed by the Commission. This eliminates those threshold levels and just puts really, I think, the responsibility and the ability to review those projects on a local level only.
That's wonderful. I think it's such a great idea, and we've been a part of it for 12 years, and it's a new application. One of the biggest changes, and one of the things that people have really been having questions about, is the boundary change. What can you say about that?
Yeah, so when we did do this reevaluation, we certainly changed a lot of things. Just I think the general approach. Again, one of the themes being more of kind of shared responsibility between the Commission and the town. I think one of the overriding themes in this revision was placing more responsibility on the town, more local control. So when we thought about that, we got some indication from the owner of the Resort and Conference Center property that they were thinking about a future development on that parcel. It's a big parcel. It's about 50 acres. There's about a 40-acre parcel, 20 acres developable. That's a a private golf course right now, 18-hole golf course. So, and thinking about that, we know whatever happens on that parcel at 35 Scudder Lane, that's again currently developed with the Hyannis Resort and Conference Center. whatever happens there, it's going to have an impact on downtown. So when we received that request, we were really thoughtful about it. But when thinking about, again, comprehensive planning, thinking about infrastructure, thinking about our capital needs, again, knowing that if that parcel develops out, it is going to impact those things. It's going to develop our infrastructure and our traffic patterns and our economy. So we presented it in our application to be included within the growth incentive zone to provide an opportunity for additional local control over what happens there from a planning perspective, and then thinking about whether the town wants to be in the driver's seat in terms of saying yes or no to the development that happens there. So this is kind of what we're debating right now, and it's been a great public process. We've had a lot of people turn out to give comment on it. We have closed the public hearing at this point, but the planning board and the town council are going to take all those issues into consideration and deliberate on it going forward.
Yeah, where that property is so close to Main Street and so close to what is already the growth incentive zone, it seems to make sense to include that going forward, so the town, like you said, has that control over, what development's going to go in there. What kind, and one of the biggest questions that I think people had is that, that everyone thinks that they already know what's going to go there, and there's nothing planned to go there right now.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest thing is, and the town would have a lot to say in that.
Absolutely. So again, no matter what happens on that parcel, anything that we talk about right now is speculative. I mean, we do know the Oceanside Performing Arts Center has expressed some interest in it, but again, that's speculative at this point. So whatever goes forward, yes, whether it's in the growth incentive zone or not, there's going to be a significant amount of community process that has to happen. First of all, that process is zoned for single-family residential use, so 1 acre single-family residences on 1 acre lots. So there'd have to be a zoning change, a regulatory agreement, some other process that would require, of course, a noticed public hearing, public comment, to be able to have the debate over what happens on that property now,
right,
or going forward. So what we're looking at now is, again, just whether or not to include it in that boundary. So, the debate really comes, are we going to do these evaluations of, again, infrastructure and land use kind of in partnership with the commission, or, do we really want to promote the town to doing that on their own? So, I know there's been a lot of certainly concern over natural resources. There are wetland impacts on that property as part of the Stewart's Creek system. But again, putting it in the growth incentive zone doesn't change, certainly. I know you have the conservation, wetland protection regulations that are there. And certainly, it's in the town's best interest to preserve and promote and conserve those resources as well.
Right. There's so many things that the town does. Just because it's in the growth incentive zone doesn't mean that all of a sudden, in 2 days it's going to be whatever it's going to be. There's still the whole process that has to go through.
It is. So it is a private property. That property owner can pursue different options, again, as they see fit, only speculative at this time. But yes, again, a significant public process that we'd have to go through separately to debate what the appropriate land use would be there for them.
Right. So the planning board is meeting on the 12th, and they'll kind of make their decision on that, and then town council meet on the 15th, correct?
Well, that's correct. So, it's not my place to say whether they're going to make a decision, but you will see this item on the 12th planning board agenda for deliberation, and then I believe the town council continued the item to the 15th. So eventually what we'll be looking for is a vote from each one of those bodies to forward the application to the Cape Cod Commission.
Is there a timeline that the Cape Cod Commission is expecting the application, or is it?
So it does have to be approved by the Cape Cod Commission and the Assembly of Delegates as well, both branches there. The existing designation expires April 6th, so we hope to keep on track and be able to meet that date.
Wonderful. And the presentation you gave at Town Council is going to be available if people are interested in viewing it on the town's website.
Yep, Sarah has asked me. You've asked me to put it up on the town on the website. So we have a project page already, a growth incentive zone project page. You can find that on the Planning and Development homepage or the Planning Board homepage. So we'll go ahead and post that presentation.
Wonderful.
Up there as well.
Elizabeth, thank you so much for coming in and talking again all about the GIZ.
All right, thanks, Sarah.
Thank you. My guest today is Elizabeth Jenkins. She's the Director of the Planning and Development Department here in the town of Barnstable. Now let's take a look at the community calendar for this week. You can learn how to make Sailor's Valentines at the Cotuit Library. This is a drop-in craft geared toward adults, but if you bring along a younger partner, they are more than welcome. The library will supply the shells and some patterns. You bring your enthusiasm and creativity. This program is free, but please register at cotuitlibrary.org/events, or you can contact the library directly at 508-428-8141. Healing Through Forgiveness, A Course in Miracles, will be facilitated by Town of Barnstable Health Department nurse Peg Stanton. This course will be held at the Barnstable Senior Center on February 7th and March 7th from 2 to 3 p.m. Nurse Stanton will explain how forgiving others doesn't mean you need to take the whole blame for what happens when there is conflict. We can own our peace, and if the other person still cannot forgive, then we can still forgive and move on. Join Peg in an hourly session of meditation, drumming, and sharing for the miracle of forgiveness. You can RSVP by calling the Senior Center at 508-862-4750. Now let's take a look at this week's board, committee, and commission schedule. Just a quick note, the Sailor's Valentines at Cotuit Library will take place on February 9th at 1 p.m. Thank you for joining us today. We'll be back tomorrow with an all-new show. On Wednesday's show, we'll check in with Police Chief Paul McDonald and State Rep Tim Whalen. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Beal.